Good afternoon. My name is Mihăilă, and together with my colleagues Felix, Jităreanu, and Carmen, Luiza, Costuleanu, from University Ionescu de la Brad, Iași, Romania, we propose to present today the paper named The Social Marketing Between the Consumer Society and the Sustainability Goals. As argument for the papers, that is a theoretical approach, we start from the observations that the nowadays reality is connected with social progress, with society evolution, but together with accelerate growth of consumption level in overall. The general evolution of society nowadays is marked by big problems in resources management and difficulties to manage the practical sustainable development. Today, the hyperconsumption has become a phenomenon that affects the quality of life at the level of society, but mainly individually. Our motivation are concern for the sustainable development subject and disruptive its factors that limits the achievement of sustainability goals. Then the interest for the marketing research area, but especially for the social marketing, that is a new approach, modern and very actual. Identifying a viable connection between three fundamental concepts with the literature support. Beliefs based on the recognition that high level of consumption does not increase the quality of life in all its form. As main purposes, identification in the consecrated literature, the arguments related to negative effects of hyperconsumption on quality life and the environment. And setting a common denominator between these three concepts: hyperconsumption, sustainable development, and social marketing. As the framework for the paper topic, we consider the tendency from the past around 20 years to achieve the social progress at the high level, to provide the development of society, and to accelerate the economic growth. The hyperconsumption is one of the major current phenomena, with numerous dysfunction on the individual development and well-being, with long-term harmful effects. And the material quality of life many times is confused with the general well-being. As introduction, for this theoretical empirical research based on literature incursion, our main goal is to create a viable connection between concepts. And the essential factors considered are well-being, quality of life, and environment protection, conservation, and care. We support the limitation of the negative consequences of hyperconsumption on the individuals, and we highlight the dissonances of hyperconsumption and sustainability goals. As main methods, we used observation, comparation, and synthesis. The theoretical background is dedicated to three concepts: hyperconsumption, sustainable development, and social marketing. And we try to present the main references from literature in our point of view. So about the hyperconsumption, Simon Gottschalk invoked the Lipovetsky models with 3 phases of hyperconsumption. And nowadays we are in a period characterized by experiential and emotional consumption. We find the Lash point of view in the in book The Culture of Narcissism, dedicated to explain the ego as the ideal commodities and the propaganda of the makers for dreams. Another very recognized author is Thorstein Veblen, that is the first which as the first marketing and consumer behavior theorist, promote the idea of conspicuous consumption. He explained the psychological mechanism of a consumer society. In a critical style, Veblen explained how the wealthy showed their superiority compared to other classes. Romanian authors Popescu and Stroie explain the hyperconsumption with the tools of behavior consumption. And they invoke the behavior with intention to protect the next generation. Stanev, 4 years ago, approaches the conspicuous consumption, considering that one of the most striking evidence of the fall of conspicuous consumption is the consumer behavior too. Also, Ritzer and Miles, 3 years ago, developed the theory of McDonaldization, with a big impact to understanding the need to change the social behavior about the consumption. About the sustainable development, this is very rich, consistent, and varied treated in literature, but we try to say about the RIS idea that the poles of sustainability are ecological stability, reducing the footprint, and assuring the quality of life for all individuals. Marketing, an Italian author, about sustainable development take into account the equilibrium, efficiency, and the resources of each generation. Fisher, in 2014, explained the contribution of social marketing to our sustainable development goals and the limitative factors to achieve this. In our opinion, the approach of sustainable development is very well positioned in connection with hyperconsumption from the perspective to ensure a high level of quality of life. About the social marketing is a new paradigm, and Hestres in 2014 explained the orientation to spend more resources in education to create new attitude and new behavior related to consumption of goods, services, and information. And Han in 2019 described the social marketing as a tool to create an overall social change, not only benefits for the brands. And Martinez, in the same year, explained social marketing used the same collection of tools to sell healthy behaviors that are used to sell jeans. In our opinion, the social responsibility can prove to be a fundamental common element for the practical application of these concepts, and is focused on changing attitude and behaviors toward consumption, because we consider that is the moment, is time to find by social marketing the tools to limit the consumption that is over real needs. And as final arguments and conclusion, We consider that the issue of sustainable development is connected with that of resources management and is reduced to the balanced consumption of resources. In the same time, the waste management is not only a post-consumer recycling action, but is the management of consumption dedicated to changing attitude and mentality about needs and about consumption. We perceive the social marketing as a link between mitigating the consequences of hyperconsumption and achieving the sustainable development goals. From this, we extract some goals that make possible to connect these three concepts. So it's about good health, well-being, sustainable cities, sustainable communities, responsible consumption, and responsible production. We point the reference of Philip Kotler and Eduardo Roberto related to areas where the social marketing is very well involved, with visible action, with visible results. So it's about health, protection of environment, education, and economics. As a modern concept, as a new concept adapted to nowadays, the social marketing is a representation of the supply-demand ratio, but which is repositioned from the profitability to a balanced consumption. The social marketing aims to change consumer the consumption behavior and to convince the consumer to adopt a sustainable behavior. In a short explanation, is need to change the mentality and not to buy more and more and more, but to buy only in accordance with the real needs. For this, we advocate for a balanced and sustainable consumption and for using the social marketing techniques and methods that bring results associated with these goals. Finally, the research from this paper, based on a specialty study from literature, showed that the current people are more inclined to material consumption compared with all real needs that are psychological, educational, relation, well-being. In the final conclusion, we consider that the real quality of life is not the same with the well-being, and the hyperconsumption create big inadvertencies between an equilibrated consumption and a good quality of life. And the social marketing is a very modern and very useful topic for this possibility to equilibrate the situation can be developed in order to find the better ways to change the actual situation that is not very well represented for all people, for environment, and for equilibrated society. Thank you very much for attention.